What is up, Chi Alpha family, YouTubers and podcasters around the world? We're coming to you live from Stillwater, Oklahoma, and we launched a podcast. Are you pretty excited about that, Sparrow?
Oh, yeah. I think it's going to be probably the most favorite thing I'm ever going to do in my life.
I totally agree.
You guys want to know what the name is?
Yes.
Yeah?
I've been waiting like months.
Guys, we've been working on this name for so long. You look up really legit podcasters and stuff, and they got the most incredible titles.
Yeah.
You guys are going to be so enthused whenever you figure out what the name of our podcast is going to be.
And we even polled some people. We're going to talk about that here in just a little bit, but we even polled some people.
Yeah. Incredible names that people have thrown out of, oh, you should do this or this. But what we decided to go with was The Adventures with Grizzly and Sparrow.
Yes. Okay. That's pretty sick. Hey, do we have one of those cool, all the cool YouTubers and podcasters have this super sick intro? Dawson's always got a cool intro. Do we have one of those? Do we have one of those for this thing?
At this point, no. But yeah, we do. Hit it.
Welcome to The Adventures of Grizzly and Sparrow, a podcast where we explore how God is using students to impact the campus and the world.
For those of you that don't know who we are, my name is Brandon Grizzly Garrett, and our co-host is
Michael Sparrow Sperry.
Yeah, and we are husbands, we're dads, we're Chi Alpha missionaries at Oklahoma State University, which means our full-time gig is reaching and discipling university students in university ministry. And we've been doing that for quite a while now, so that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So you guys are getting on the number uno podcast. The first one, I think the tie is noon. That's probably not first. That's one. Autumn Rebecca, I'm sorry for butchering all my tie. But so this is the very first week one episode of this video podcast. Something we've been kind of going back and forth here at Oklahoma State, here at OSU Chi Alpha for quite a while. It seems like.
Oh yeah.
There have been seasons where we thought it might be a good time, and we kind of pulled out of that. But we leaned it on launching one now. Why did we do that, Sperry?
Right now, I think one of the most interesting things about the way the world's going with the whole COVID-19 crisis, everything has moved virtually online.
Yeah.
And honestly, this is my own personal thought. Every time Brandon mentions doing anything about a podcast, for some reason, I'm like, oh yeah, dude, let's do a podcast. And nobody ever wants to do a podcast except for me. So here we are.
It's kind of taken a little bit of time. I think, one of the things that's just been normally our summers are pretty chaotic. Mission trips. We've got new student orientations that we're a part of. But this season, our summer calendar is pretty bare, so it seemed like it was a pretty good fit for right now to do it. It seems like there's a lot of groups we're seeing actually launching podcasts, which is pretty cool. I know a lot of my Chi Alpha friends around the nation have been kind of posting about their new podcasts, so it's kind of brought up a little bit more questions for us, but we thought this would be a great opportunity for us to stay connected with our students over the summer, for us to catch up with the staff and kind of see how they've been doing during this COVID season. Yeah. Just coming out of, I guess, quarantine time, but also to talk to some of our alumni that we've sent out and just connect with them. So we've got some pretty exciting guests that will be coming in the next coming week. So be sure to stay tuned for those. So just coming out, we landed on this awesome name, The Adventures of Grizzly and Sparrow, right? Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
What were some of the other names? So we took some suggestions from our students. What were some of the other names that were thrown out?
We had some really, really good names that were thrown out. One of my favorite ones comes from my boy Coco, Colin Stitt. He's always on the Sperry team, which is incredible. I love you, Coco.
Shout out to Colin.
His recommendation for the podcast, video podcast name was The Michael Sperry Show.
Yeah, which makes total sense. Which I added to that and said we should do Sperry and Sidekick because, That's golden.
That's good stuff, guys. Good stuff.
So, some of the other ones were, okay, Dawson's like go-to.
Yeah.
All right, just calling you out, Dawson. I'm sorry if you're listening to this.
This is the title for everything.
This is the title for everything. The Exiles. I'm surprised it was not Come to the Exiles. I would have expected that to be like his video podcast idea. So Exiles was thrown out. Agent Orange was thrown out by some of the staff, which we opted not to do because it's an actual poison.
That's a terrible thing.
Trying to avoid poisoning. Yeah. Schroeder, Jake, didn't throw out, but was suggested for him back to the Gulag, which is a reference to a video game that we've been playing a little bit. Just a few hours. Maybe more than just a few hours over the summer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we landed on the adventures of Grizzly and Sparrow because honestly, that's our nicknames, and this really is an adventure.
Yeah.
I think everything we're going to be talking about, whether it's parenthood, our great stories with our kids, because when you have kids, they become the center of a lot of your stories.
Yeah.
So that's an adventure. Talking to missionaries, obviously, is an adventure. Alumni, connecting with students or kind of students that are gone over the summer, connecting with those guys. Basically, everything really is an adventure, or at least hopefully it should be an adventure, I guess, in this faith thing that we're doing. So that's kind of why we landed on the name.
Yeah. And
we hope that you guys will enjoy it. We hope the content will be beneficial, and that you guys will be challenged every week by the things that we're doing. So here we are, 2020. It's now May, the end of May. Basically, we've been in quarantine. If you're listening to this somewhere in the future, like in the year 2050 or something like that, I don't know if YouTube and podcasts will be around then.
No, probably not.
But somewhere in the future, basically, the year 2020 will forever be in the history books because of this kind of pandemic of COVID, the virus that went around. And we've been in here in Stillwater in quarantine.
Yeah.
Forever, it seems like.
Yeah. So here in Stillwater specifically, it's been different all over the world. Like New York got hit really hard. My sister-in-law, she lives up there, and she says it's pretty crazy. But here in Stillwater, they did a mandatory stay-at-home or shelter-in-place type situation. And then right now things are starting to open back up. They created a line at Walmart. So like if too many people went to Walmart, you had to wait in a specific line. And there's still like a line system, but everybody's kind of not like everybody goes at different times. So it's not a big deal. And for like one of the first times in history, Walmart actually has normal hours. They close at like 8 p.m.
Yeah.
And
what does that even mean?
People are furious. They're like, are you kidding me? How are you going to close Walmart at 8 p.m.? So we've been able to spend a lot of time at home and we're killing the Walmart grocery pickup. Yeah. It's just like you hit the switch on the hatch and they're like, hey, did you see the substitutions we made? Because there's absolutely nothing in the store. Yeah,
because it's bare.
And we're like, yeah, we saw all the substitutions. Just throw it on the back. And they're like, all right, see you later. So, it's been really, really crazy. Also, during this whole quarantine thing, Jalen and I, for those of you who don't know, we have one son. His name's Watchman.
Yeah, Watchman.
He just turned. Yeah, he's a lot of fun right now. He just turned 2 on April 24th. But a very interesting thing happened on April 3rd. We had a second son, and his name is Witness Theodore Sperry. He was born on April 3rd at like 9:30 or something in the morning. Beautiful little bundle of joy. Looks exactly like Watchmen, picture-wise. Like you put their pictures together, and they look.
And then in person,
a
little different.
But the COVID crisis thing couldn't have come at a better time for me and my family. I know that's terrible to say, but I've just been able to I was able to spend 3 weeks fully at home, working from home. And being able to spend time with Jalen and the new boy as he's growing and trying to figure out what the heck's going on. So it's just been a lot of fun for us.
That's good. So, yeah, I remember when they first instituted the kind of like line at Walmart, right? So I show up randomly at our neighborhood Walmart, which is right around the corner from us. It's dangerous that we're that close to a Walmart. Because when we could go in, it seemed like we went daily. Now it's like we make a weekly trip, and that's pickup basically. Yeah. The deliver stuff. So I remember pulling up to run in and grab something that we had missed, and there was the they had the basket kind of stretched out, blocking off the entrance.
Yeah, with
and
the caution tape.
Yeah, there was a counter. There was a lady that was counting, and I was like, what do we do? She's like, oh, well, you have to wait because we're at capacity. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. And
this
now, and then they started doing like actual arrows on the floors. So the arrows, there's like a literal, when Sperry says a line, he doesn't mean like, an imaginary line. It's like literally blue tape, yeah, kind of guiding you through, and nobody is following that.
Yeah,
nobody is following that. I mean, I would venture out to say that even our wear a mask kind of encouragement has probably not been followed to the T.
No.
The rest of the country, we apologize from Stillwater. But
Oh yeah.
So this has not been followed to a T. But yeah, so basically March hit, spring break hits, and the university sent the kids home, basically moved everything to virtual.
Yeah.
Public schools moved everything kind of to a semi-virtual. It was, still sending out work and stuff like that. Yeah. So because, we get to do what we do, it's a little bit more flexible in us schedule-wise. My wife works, full-time jobs, so she's not able to be as flexible in terms of, being able to stay home. So essentially for however many days we've been in quarantine, I think it's like 500 now.
Getting close, yeah. Getting close.
It just feels like it keeps going up. 480 somewhere in there.
Yep.
But we've been doing a lot of home time, a lot of homeschooling. Yeah. A lot of like trying to keep the kids on a schedule, which is tricky, I'll say.
For sure, not working.
It's got some challenges to it.
Yeah.
We have a 10-year-old daughter, Aubrey, and a 4-year-old son. And as you can imagine, the 10-year-old Aubrey does pretty great with it. She's like, okay, we have a schedule. I know when I need to do my work.
Yeah.
Whereas Elliot, when we're like, hey, it's homework time, he's like, no, I don't want to.
Nope.
That's it. I don't want to. And then what was worse, so like even at the beginning, trying to get the schedule thing was really, really challenging. Once we actually got the schedule, I think they were kind of like happy we had one. Yeah. And then by like week 8, there was no hope for the schedule.
Chaos.
The last 2 weeks. So we just wrapped up our kind of, I guess, homeschool time, I'll say, like a week ago. Yeah. But literally like the last 2 weeks, they had zero desire to do anything, which is fair because even like in regular school, those are like, the least favorable times for students. They just don't care. Yeah. But yeah, it was like pulling teeth to get Elliot to do anything. I mean, literally, it was like, hey, just color this picture. Yeah. No, I refuse. Yeah. It was, So it was a little bit chaotic. We were all 150% stir crazy, I'll say.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll say this. Okay, let me back up. So it was, just crazy trying to, I think the biggest challenge was just trying to like balance like, okay, how much work can I do, right? Like how much should I try to do? Like what's reasonable? Yeah. And then like, the family kid time, making sure the kids do the schoolwork. But I will say this, it was a pretty unique experience being able to be home for like so many nights at a time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because like our normal flow of stuff is, we've got something going on, seeming like every night of the week sometimes. Yeah. Some of that's changed over the years, but honestly, just like being able to be home and watch a movie and like not have to think about where I'm about to go to was pretty. It was like wild at first, and then I was like, "Oh, this is actually pretty great." Yeah. And then like when we were doing our like online services, like actually being able to sit and like watch the online service, that was pretty crazy because it was just weird, but like it's been good. I mean, obviously it's had its challenges. I think anytime. You're in a house with somebody for so long, it's gonna be challenging, but it's been great. I think just being able to spend time with the family. I'm super ready for summer. I'm super ready for things to be opening back up. I will say, I don't know about you, but what like I missed the most, and this will be a great question for our guest too, our special guest tonight. Stay tuned. I think the thing I missed the most, to be transparent, was disc golf.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're just like pulling on the heartstrings right now.
I kept wanting to go, but I remembered like I'd have to take the kids, and I thought I can't play. It's not feasible.
How do I fetch Elliot out of the lake?
How do I get Elliot out of Boomer? How do I get him out of the lake? He's gonna go swimming. And then we also just to add to the chaos a little bit, so all our listeners and watchers get a full picture. We also have a puppy. Yeah. Okay, he's not a puppy. He's almost a year old now. It'll be a year in like September or something like that. Yeah. We thought he was going to be like one of those like small, cute, fun puppies. But he's a beast. He's like a horse.
He's a big old dude.
He's like a size of a horse now.
Big old dog, yeah.
Barry's seen him. He was trying to,
he's trying to eat my face off, yeah. For 5 hours, he tried to eat my face.
But yeah, so you add that to the mix of even like the schedule and school and work, and it just is like, it's just added like a whole nother element to it.
Yeah.
It's been nice having a dog, I think, but it's also been a little bit chaotic in the house.
Yeah.
As you can imagine. So here's what's pretty cool. Each week on this video podcast, whether you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this wherever it's broadcast to, we're going to bring in a special guest. Okay, so that's kind of what's going to happen here. Is we're going to have a special guest each week. And that's pretty exciting. I love, one of my favorite things is talking to missionaries. Honestly, I just love talking to those guys. At our fall retreat, we almost always get a chance to do a little Q&A with missionaries. I love catching up with those guys. I'm always challenged hearing from those guys. But I realize, there's a lot broader audience than just missionaries and even people that are called into mission. There's a broader audience than that. So each week in this podcast, we'll have a different featured guest that we're sitting down talking with, which is really pretty cool. And tonight, in this inaugural, I say tonight, I don't know where you're listening to this or watching it, but this week, our special featured guest, we thought would be great to catch up with some of our staff. Can you tell them who's featured guest tonight?
Yeah, so tonight, or whatever day, in this video
you're listening to,
you're going to get to hear from the one and only pair, couple, Leo and Rebecca Belovoskeys.
Boom.
In this episode, we have some very special guests with us tonight. We have Leo and Rebecca Belovoskeys.
Woo!
All the way down from Tejas, America.
Yeah.
They moved up here, did the internship. They'll introduce themselves, joined staff, and have just been doing an incredible job here at Oklahoma State. So, Leo, Rebecca, introduce yourself to the world, and we'll go from there.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm just kidding. I am Leo Belovoskeys.
I'm Rebecca Belovoskeys.
And yes, we both came from Texas to do the internship, like Sperry said.
So how long have you guys been in Oklahoma?
Be 2 years, July 31st.
Yep.
Nice. How much better do you like it than Texas?
I'd say they each have their benefits.
Yes. That was very political, Leo.
Yeah.
They each have their pros and cons.
I have aspirations.
We made a pro and con list before coming to Oklahoma. What are the pros of Oklahoma?
The pros of Oklahoma are
Ron's Hamburger.
That is pretty good. Nick's Grill, Oklahoma City. Mm-hmm. OSU Chi Alpha.
Yeah.
It's the people that won my heart.
It's the people.
That's fair. Yeah. Other than that, this might get me in trouble with both sides. It reminds me a lot of Texas.
Wow.
Just smaller and less bigger cities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just unplug.
You drive. I mean, you go anywhere in the country, and it all pretty much looks the same for the most part, except for like New Mexico. No one wants.
Yeah. Okay. You can't claim you're from Texas and say it look the same. I think that's illegal in Texas.
Well, yeah, certain parts do not. There's more hills here.
There's more hills.
Yeah.
That is true. When I've driven through Texas, there's no hills.
Yeah.
You drive through Stillwater. You drive through East Texas.
Okay, Stillwater has no hills either. I'm just gonna be fair.
A lot of it's the same. You go out to the
prairies and cows.
West side of Oklahoma and West Texas, it's all the same.
True. That is very true.
Yeah.
Good observation. Good observation. So you guys have been here 2 years. What? So basically, we were talking about this just a minute ago. We've been in quarantine for I think day 1,000 now. The number every time I say it gets higher.
Almost doubles every
roughly, yeah, almost double. It's more dramatic if you double it. Yeah. So we've been in quarantine like 1,000 years. It feels like at this point, not even days, like years. And things are just kind of starting to open up. What have you guys been doing since the last time we seen you in person in March? That's not 100% true. But what's been going on at the Belovoskeys house? Okay, maybe we shouldn't ask that. What kind of stuff have you guys been up to over these last couple months to keep you guys occupied?
I'll let you start off since I answered the last stuff.
That's just because. Well, just a bunch of different stuff. I mean, we've been looking for a new apartment. Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of stuff that you can do with Chi Alpha. Leo's been doing XAI, Discover America stuff, and I've been doing a Bible study with my girls through Zoom, and So a lot of the same stuff, just online.
We should let you guys say real quick kind of what you do in Chi Alpha. You know, everybody's got different stuff that's going on. Just for everybody that might not know, we know there's a lot of maybe new people listening on YouTube or, you know, wherever, Apple Music, Spotify, plugs for those hooks. So what do you guys do? What's your guys' role for Chi Alpha?
Well, me for Chi Alpha, I do XAI. Do I look at the camera for this part? Do I look right in your beautiful eyes?
Wow, Leo, I'm right here.
Whichever you want.
Okay.
Whichever you want.
This is my first podcast.
Whatever makes you feel comfortable. This is our first podcast, too, it turns out.
Probably my last one. I won't get invited back.
Dang.
I'll just look back and forth. Yeah, so I do XAI here at Oklahoma State, and also coordinate like fellowship events and stuff like that. Which the fellowship events kind of died off a little bit for the.
When they told us not to fellowship anymore.
Yeah, when they told us not to fellowship,
we still did lunch chat.
Yeah, we did it on Zoom. We got together on Zoom.
Virtual fellowship.
Virtual fellowship.
Yeah. Fellowship
Right.
still exists. It just looks a little different.
Yeah, it just looks a little different, and we continued that with our international stuff, Discover America, and it went pretty well. The month and a half we did it online, we averaged any week between 5 and 10. So I don't know what would that be, 7.5 internationals a week.
7.5 internationals.
Their dad was American.
Yeah.
Their mom was.
Yeah, I counted as the half. I was, since I'm from Texas. Yeah. So that's pretty much what I do, and Rebecca can.
Talk about me. So I head up women's discipleship, and then I do resourcing prayer. That's what I'm in charge of. Make food for Wild Goose. Woo! Yeah.
So
Very good
here's
food.
a fun question. This is just to start us off with some of the good questions. How long or how many hours do you think you guys have been on Zoom since March?
Oh gosh. A
Just
lot.
rough estimate. I don't want to know my own. Like, I'm not calculating that because I'm terrified.
Yeah, I think if there's a way that eye doctors can tell like how much vision you've lost, and they can probably put in the amount of hours that way, because I feel like I've lost. My eyes just hurt now all the time.
My eyes hurt.
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's a new one.
yeah, Zoom makes my eyes hurt. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like every time I got off of Zoom, I had just like a massive headache. It was almost like when you speak and like you get done speaking and you're like tired and exhausted. That's how I felt literally after every Zoom.
Yeah.
Every Zoom call, it was like, oh my gosh, mental energy
Yeah.
drain.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's been a lot.
Yeah.
but I'd say probably about as much as everyone else. 5 to 10 hours a week. I haven't really sat down and thought of it, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
we can do
Enough to
one-on-ones,
get
Bible
tired of
studies.
Yeah.
And not to get tired of Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although Zoom stock went up a lot, I think everybody's
yeah.
like
Right.
zoomed out
For
for
sure.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's been like? So Zoom, chaos, crazy, all that stuff. What's been some stuff that you guys have enjoyed, kind of in this, quarantine season?
I'm thinking of what you better say.
Well played, Rebecca. Pinch the back.
No, you just pat really hard.
Yeah. Well, I figured that went without saying.
Except when you have to say it in no microphone.
Yeah. No, Rebecca and I got to spend more time
Yeah,
together.
that's right.
Good save.
So that was obviously what am I supposed to say?
Lines.
Did I say it correctly?
No, that was good. That was actually something we've been struggling to find, like talked about during the actual school year, and so when that came up, we were able to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
So that was good. The other good thing, no one I know personally, or even like a few relationships apart, like I don't really know anyone who's got Corona, which is good.
Yeah.
And I pray that that'll be the case all the way through. So, yeah. I think another thing was just like made me appreciate nature a little bit more, which is like Rebecca and I went to the botanical garden several times, and even just in walking, it's just like maybe not the whole time, but it was just interesting to like it did make me think about God a little bit, like just looking at everything and just admiring it in a way that probably have not that I didn't have reason to, but just hadn't taken advantage of.
Yeah.
So.
Rebecca, what about you?
Yeah.
Other than getting to spend more time with Theo.
Right.
You heard that answer clearly.
I think for me, probably like an increased time like spent with God where it's not like rushed, because normally it's like, okay, I've got like my quiet time and it's scheduled, and so it's like, okay, I've got to get through my prayer list, and then there's like all this other deep-seated stuff that you like don't have the time to like talk to God about, because you're like, okay, I need to like pray for XYZ. And so having that time where it was like, okay, I can handle all this stuff with God that I need to like work out, and then I can pray through all of these other things. And so I think that was probably the thing that I've really super enjoyed a lot, like gotten to go on. Because sometimes if it's really hard for me to focus like in my house, I'll just like go driving. So being able to go and drive and like just talk to God and everything, and listen to like a lot more music. Shameless plug for Josh Garrels. That's great.
I was just fixing to ask you if you've been listening to it.
Yeah, this guy Josh Garrels, he's really awesome. So
She's getting paid.
Josh Garrels, if you're listening to this, Alpha, support us.
That's true.
Monthly.
So
Monthly,
yeah, exactly.
So Josh Garrels, that's a new thing you've been listening to.
Yeah.
What else? Anything else?
I already listened to Switchfoot a lot. I really like Switchfoot. So yeah. And then Kansas. Looked up the life of Carrie Lipgren.
She went on a big Kansas kick.
I'll say, like, one of the things that I was like ready for was the weather to be nice. So like when we first went into like quarantine, the weather was like rainy and all that sort of stuff, so we couldn't go outside, which made being home with the kids like even harder. So I was like, ready for like really, really nice weather. I still haven't gotten to go disc golfing, but it's unfortunate. Moment of silence for disc golf. It's been sad. It's been hard. I'm recovering. But yeah, so getting to go outside like in the nice weather has been a super nice change of pace for sure. So here's something I think would be really fun. I've got this like random bowl of questions here. Okay, I'm gonna pull it into the video. This random bowl. This is not soup. This is not. It's actually one of Elliot's.
My
bowls.
question is, did Elliot pee in this bowl?
Elliot did not pee in this bowl.
Okay.
Well played. Well played. It's not a Joe's cup. It's a bowl.
Yeah.
So I got this like random bowl of questions that I thought would be really fun. I'm just gonna let Sperry pull one out and ask the questions, and then we'll all answer it. Okay? How's that sound? How's that sound? Yeah.
That sounds good.
All right, let's have a pick it going. Who we start with? Let's start with Brandon.
Okay. You want to ask them all? Ask us all, right? We all get to answer?
Who are you voting for?
Okay, yeah.
Not yet.
Whoa.
So this one we kind of talked about a little bit, but it says, what are your hobbies and how did you get into them?
Oh, man. Okay. So, yes, that's going to be hard. Is kids a hobby? No, I'm just kidding. That's not. Playing music is probably a hobby. So I got into that when I was like 13, something a long time ago. And it was, I got into music because of a friend of mine. Like one of my brother's friends was a musician. He was a lot better. Still is a lot better than me, but it kind of got me interested into it. And then, reading and stuff like that. But that was kind of a progressive thing for sure. Yeah. Rebecca. Next. Let's just go around the table. That will be fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like movies, but I feel like that doesn't even count as a hobby because
that
everybody.
It's a good relaxer to your brain for sure.
Yeah. So, reading is probably I've like been a reader, like read since I was like a kid. Anybody Hardy Boys? Yeah. that's
not in our house.
Oh really?
No.
Okay. So yeah, that was like stuff that I read when I was a kid, and yeah. So I mean, I've enjoyed reading since I was little. So.
Yeah. I learned how to read finally. So that's something else I figured I'd like to do.
Figured out in the quarantine season how to read.
Yeah. I didn't know how to read until quarantine, and then jumped right into Ravi Zacharias. It was it was pretty good.
It's a big jump.
Yeah. No, actually, so I do like reading, specifically apologetic stuff like Ravi Zacharias, C.S. Lewis, stuff like that. And then history. Those are buying books is probably another hobby.
Yeah, that should be a hobby.
Sometimes I buy them more than I read them.
That's an expensive hobby for sure.
Yeah. Well,
And space consuming.
you don't always need money, but you can't live without books.
It's true.
Yeah.
I think.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll call it true
Right.
for sure.
Yeah. You don't even need a house. You can just build a house out of your books.
It's coming back to you. Hobby, and how did you get into it?
One of my pastime hobbies is riding 4-wheelers and dirt bikes. Got into it at a very young age. I remember my dad bought me a go-kart for Christmas one year, and I just destroyed our yard. And then I got a 4-wheeler and just kept moving up. Something I haven't been able to do here recently, just because of time. Usually about every August when we go on our spiritual walk, or before the semester hits, I'll usually try and find some time to get away and ride. So that's a lot of fun. Right now, currently, I'm just trying to teach watchmen how to balance on a balance bike. So we spend a ton of time outside. I mean, literally, I get home and we literally just play outside all day. So, hanging out with family is a good hobby. I love doing it. And then also, I used to be really, really into video games. I kind of put it down for a little while, maybe a few years I put it down. And then there's a company that came out with a really cool discipleship game that we've been playing for the past month.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of fun. We'll talk about that later on. But that's pretty much it.
It's discipleship game. That's a great way to put it.
I didn't know that they had those.
we should definitely brand that discipleship game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get it now. I think honestly, it's funny when you have kids, how much your quote unquote hobbies change so drastically, and not that you don't have hobbies, but one, I mean your time schedule and your flexibility of stuff is different, but then it's you just get so much joy and fun in watching them learn stuff or do stuff or figure out dumb stuff, which just becomes its own hobby, and just watching the family do crazy stuff. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Let me do another one. We probably got time for one more here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. What was the best vacation you ever took and why?
Oh.
What was the best vacation you ever took and why? We'll start with Michael Sparrow Sperry.
So I'll do two. I'll do one from my childhood.
Overachiever.
I'll do one from my childhood and one from my ministryhood.
Ministryhood, I like that
Ministryhood. So from my childhood, I remember one time my grandma. So my grandma loves fishing. Fishing is her thing. She, through her, whenever she worked, she's retired now. Doing the retired thing. I guess after you retire, all you do is dance at all over the state of Oklahoma, which is super cool. I'm glad she's out doing her thing. It's really encouraging. But she loves to fish, right? And so she won't. If she catches other fish other than crappie, she'll throw them back. So if she caught a world record largemouth, she would throw it back because it's not a crappie. It's only it has to be a crappie. Yeah, it has to be a crappie or she won't keep it. So growing up, I did a ton of fishing with my grandma. Well, my grandpa, he liked fishing, but he didn't necessarily care all that much about it. He wasn't as enthusiastic about it as my grandma. So one time we all took a trip to Missouri to go float down some river and do some trout fishing or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I ever got to use a fly rod, and I was I think I was 10 maybe, something like that. Never used a fly rod, never even knew what a fly rod was before. And so we fly fished. But what I didn't know is the water is ice cold coming off the mountain. Yeah. And so, I don't know if they have
that cold spring water.
Yeah, the cold spring water. So I just remember falling in, and I was frigid cold. I'd never been so cold in my life. And I remember my grandpa getting very furious about it because he had to come in and get me out of the cold water.
And this is his best vacation.
Yeah, dude, it was so fun. It was so fun. My vacations aren't as awesome as other people's, but I had a lot of fun doing that. And then for my ministryhood vacation, we went to, back in 2018, we had to go to Arizona for CMC, which stands for Campus Missionary Conference. All the Chi Alpha campus pastors come together for a big time of training and praying and seeking the Lord and stuff. And it was a lot of fun. Watchman was just born. He was 3 months old. And we decided a road trip from Oklahoma. It was about 16 hours in a car with a 3-month-old.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, Watchman did really, really good all the way there. And then on the way back, he had one meltdown for 2 hours straight in the car. Mariah Jones, she went with us, and whenever she was a Jones, she went with us. She carpooled with us, and it was a lot of fun. But just seeing that part of that part of the country, I'd never been that far west before, so it was a lot of fun to do that. Had a really, really good Indian taco up there. Holy smokes! I mean, it changed your life on that fry bread. But that was just a good time. Basically, anytime I get to go anywhere with family, it's just a lot of fun. So
yeah. I remember that trip. Phoenix is where that one was at.
Yeah.
We carpooled. We drove too. So we had Aubrey, who was, 6, I think. Yeah, 6 at the time. But Stacy was pregnant with Elliot. So we decided, when you're doing a ministry trip, obviously it's like you want to take advantage of the time and get some extra kind of, vacation time in with the trip. So we stopped by the Grand Canyon. Which sounded awesome, right? Sounds great. Except it was scorching hot, and Stacey's, obviously,
that just
seems a little pregnant. So we stopped by
awful.
the Grand Canyon. Aubrey was not quite old enough really to listen super well, so we were like super nervous the whole time. At the Grand Canyon, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's like no rails, so it's all open. There's only a few spots that actually have rails that you can like keep you from going
Cross
off.
that off my
So
list.
we were like constantly watching her, but it was awesome. I mean, seeing the Grand Canyon is a beautiful, beautiful place. But Phoenix itself was pretty nice too. So I'd probably echo that. That was probably been our best like actual family. Growing up, I mean, our vacations were Branson, so I don't know if that counts as a. I don't know if that quote unquote counts as a vacation.
Yeah.
It was like, going to Silver Dollar City, or we floated a ton. So I mean, obviously that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I think Phoenix has probably been one of our favorite trips because we just went so many places, kind of driving there and back and seeing that part of the country and all that stuff's been pretty good.
Yeah. Leo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll do 2 like Sperry as well. My favorite Google Maps trip has been London, England. The streets there are pretty cool. That's all I saw
What have
was
we
the
been doing
streets.
since quarantine started? That and Leo's been building a Minecraft replica of the Twin Towers.
That is true.
Hey, can we get a picture of it? Can we
But,
put it on the video?
I mean, I'm doing some research right now for it, studying a lot of floor plans and pictures. So right now it's kind of a layout.
So when the FBI shows up at your house,
You're gonna have a Minecraft.
Yeah.
Hey, it's not weird. There's a lot of YouTubers out
You
there.
said it's not weird.
is
It's not weird.
Um,
It's not weird.
But no, my favorite in-person trip was the one we took for our anniversary. It was cool. It was our first road trip together.
Are you anniversary or honeymoon?
Honeymoon. Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, our first anniversary was our first road trip ever.
Yeah,
No, I'm just kidding.
awesome.
No, it was our honeymoon. And it was actually Rebecca's idea. I was actually wanted to go take her to Ireland because that's where she wanted to go.
Yeah.
But she didn't want to deal with going overseas.
No.
So she actually thought it'd be really cool that we'd go to D.C. because our honeymoon was over the 4th of July.
Yeah.
And me being like super into politics and history, that was amazing.
It's no brainer. Like, yeah.
It was great. I mean, it was like Ireland was for you, but I'll take DC. Actually, no, I would like to go to Ireland one day. But no, it was cool. I mean, we got to see the White House, Capitol, all the main things. The Supreme Court building. We went to the Supreme Court, which is right across from the Capitol, and it was kind of funny, kind of lame at the same time. Not the court itself, but the. It was under construction. A lot of stuff was under construction. And so they had this like giant tarp over the front of the Supreme Court, which was just a picture of the front of the Supreme Court. So yeah, it was, but it was really cool. And then she planned a lot of it. I got a little spoiled on it. We went to our some of her family had got us a hotel there, and which was just a few blocks from the White House, which is really cool. But in the midst of that, we took a 2-day trip to Boston. And we drove. It looked a lot closer on the map. It was still like 8 hours away.
Yeah.
So we got to go look around Boston and Harvard, and which was really cool. And ran over. We also stopped by Yale on the way, just because I wanted to see those places. I pulled off our bumper, pulling out of a parking lot there.
Gosh.
So, but no, it was just great. The history there was that's definitely my best one.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I would probably say that one was my favorite too. The reason why I chose DC was because our honeymoon was going to be over July 4th, and I was like, oh yeah, we got to be in DC for July 4th fireworks, and it was totally worth it.
Was it worth it?
So great. It was so great.
It was great.
Yeah, it was. So we finished right about the Lincoln Memorial, but it was there were so many fireworks that when it finished, you felt the ash come down, and it felt like rain because it was so heavy. But that was how many fireworks there were. It was so cool.
Yeah.
So
it's the biggest fireworks show I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And when you first hear it, you're like, there's all these buildings, and it just bounces off all the buildings, and you're like, oh my god, it's happening. It was when we went. We went right after the Boston stuff happened.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then then you're like, oh, fireworks.
Yeah.
And but it was just great because the whole show was right by the Lincoln Memorial. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I have family in DC that's always been trying to get us to come out, and it's never we've just never been able to make it work time wise.
Yeah.
But it's always been a place that I've thought it'd be really, really fun to go to see all the history stuff.
Yeah.
Particularly.
Yeah.
So given that our summer schedule's a little bit changed this go around, what's on the docket for you guys this summer?
Well, we're going to Texas. What day is this? I don't even know.
I know.
I don't even know. What day is this?
What is this?
Day 2000.
Yeah, day 2000.
On Friday.
We're going on Friday, which I think is 2 days from now. Today's Wednesday, right?
Yes.
We're going there for a wedding of a friend of ours, and or friends of ours, and I'll be there for a few days, and then at the end of June we're gonna be moving out behind Brandon's house a little bit.
Yeah.
Right behind our house.
Yeah, right in the backyard actually.
Yeah.
Rent was
Right
pretty
next,
cheap.
right next to Scott.
Yeah.
Scott doesn't even live in the backyard himself. He doesn't live in the backyard, I'm saying.
Yeah. So we're gonna be living. It's kind of in between y'all and Boomer. And then in July, there's possibly, just depending on what happens, visiting some family, possibly in Illinois, and then maybe another trip back to Texas.
Yeah.
Because the one this week is not really see our family; it's just go to the wedding.
to the
But we'll
wedding,
probably go visit them, and maybe get to see them in person,
Yeah.
which would be good.
Yeah. Usually when I go home, I say home to Elko, it's because we're doing something, so I don't get to ever see any of my friends because it's it's a quick trip normally.
Yeah.
And then I always if there's a picture posted, somebody's like, oh, you didn't message me when you were in town? I'm like, I had 10 hours, that was it. And I haven't seen my family in a month or two. So yeah, I totally understand there. I want to go back home. Well, we appreciate you guys being the first guest on the video podcast. Yeah, it's pretty awesome, pretty exciting stuff.
We wanted to start it off with the best people in Stillwater.
Yeah.
So
We wanted to really, really high since you're stuck with us as hosts. We thought we'll balance that by bringing in the Belovoskeys, just bring the game up.
It was really just the first people to respond to Brandon's text.
I'm not saying that's 100% false or true. Neither confirm nor deny.
We were the first at something.
Just first in something. You guys were the first on the podcast, which is pretty exciting.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, we appreciate you guys stopping by the new podcast studio. The new prayer. I don't know what we're calling this.
Prayer podcast studio.
Prayer podcast headquarters. Something.
Looks like an interrogation room.
It looks like an interrogation room. There's a big giant light up here. I thought about moving the light closer when you guys came in, just for the fun of it, but just to blind you and to make you feel like you're under an interview. But we appreciate you guys being a part of it. Honestly, we love these guys. Such an incredible blessing to the staff and to the students at Oklahoma State. You guys are rock stars. And I was just going to drop this. I know we're in May, but I'm pretty excited about this coming school year.
Yeah.
Excited to get back on campus.
I'm excited for students to be back in Stillwater, first of all.
Yeah.
But I just got a good feeling about it. I think it's going to be really, really great. I'm glad that you guys are a part of making that happen. So let's give it up for the Belovoskeys. Woo! You guys want to say anything?
It was fun to be on here.
Yeah.
I look forward to watching
Yourself.
No, I'm
not gonna watch this.
No, I was.
The one episode
I was saying the rest of these. I mean, I was kind of here and lived it, so I don't have to rewatch it. But I'm looking forward to the. I like the idea of this. Looking forward to some of the.
It's gonna be a lot of
guests
fun.
y'all talked
I
about.
don't know if anybody else is gonna have fun, but I'm gonna have fun.
Listen, if it's just the four of us, and I'm just speaking honest, if it's just the four of us that have fun over the summer doing this, it's worth it. 100%. It's just 100%.
Not about you people.
Secret thing.
Not about the students. Hey, Rebecca, not about you students. It's about us.
I was paraphrasing what Brandon was saying.
When I was younger, I did want to go into radio for a time. I wanted to do sports talk.
Yeah. Now, okay, when we've talked about podcasts, I will say Leo has always been like, well, I have thought about a sports podcast. Unfortunately,
cool.
spring had no sports, so we can't really talk about that. It's less of a sports talk podcast and more of like talking about other stuff than sports. But that's all for these guys. We're going to cut it on to the goodbyes. So let's give it up for the Belovoskeys. Woo! What is this, Bert? Is this the thing we do now?
It's like if we go full on.
Kids Corner! Testing.
I'm Aubrey Garrett.
I'm Elliot.
So, Elliot, can you please tell me, what is your favorite thing to do in the summer?
Oh, go swimming.
Swimming. Where do you like to swim at?
At a beach.
At the beach? Cool.
And the sandcastles, of course.
Yeah. So, what is your favorite color?
Yellow, because yellow is for in the summer.
Yeah? What have you been doing during quarantine?
I don't know.
Playing?
Yeah.
Cool. Do you like to do puzzles?
Yeah, easy ones.
Easy ones? I like easy ones too.
What's your favorite thing to do in a winter?
I really like to build snowmen when it snows.
Oh, cool. What's your favorite color?
My favorite color is probably agua.
Pretty color. What's your favorite thing to do in a winter in your house? Drink hot chocolate?
Well, I'm not really into hot chocolate anymore. I like coffee.
Okay, so just come up with coffee in winter.
Yeah, coffee's really good, especially in the winter when it's all cold.
That's why you have to bring your gloves, shoes, and mittens. You need to bring your boots, coat, and your hat, and your...
That's going to do it for the first edition of the Adventures of Grizzly and Sparrow. Be sure to... How do they find us, Barry? How do they stay tuned in with us?
We'll figure out a way to link all of our stuff wherever we post this, but we'll be on YouTube, we'll be on Spotify, Apple Music, probably a couple other places, but we'll be sure to post it to let you guys know where we're going to be. And
listen, our hope is that this is a weekly thing that comes out, so hopefully we can keep that kind of throughout the summer, which would be pretty exciting, and into the fall semester as well. So tune in to next week, man. We've got we can't say. I want to say, but we can't say just yet. But an incredible special guest missionary with us. Can we say that they're okay? Maybe they're not in country. They're not in country.
Yeah, not in country.
World
That's
missionaries, world missions. So just brace yourselves for that. That's gonna be a lot of fun hearing from those guys. But tune in next week for episode number 2. Yep. Thanks for tuning in this week. You guys are awesome. We can't wait to see you guys later this summer or into this next semester. Have a great summer. Be sure to check out the Psalms reading list. That's going to be a lot of fun too. Dialing through that. You guys are awesome. Peace.